the top stories of the day. Understand the issues that matter. This is Manila Bulletin News on Web. Your quick rundown of top news in the country and around the world. Manila Bulletin, celebrating 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. Be fully informed. Hi, I'm Barbie Atienza. This is MB Now, and here are your news on web. U.S. President Donald Trump and the First Lady tested positive for coronavirus Thursday, Friday, Manila time. Trump tweeted that he and his wife Melania would begin their recovery process immediately and get through this together. The Trumps had entered quarantine earlier in the day after senior aide Hope Hicks had also tested positive. She spent a substantial amount of time in close proximity with Trump this week, including traveling with him to a campaign rally on Wednesday. Minutes after Trump tweeted his positive test result, White House physician Dr. Sean Conley said the president was well and would continue to perform his duties without interruption while quarantining along with the First Lady. Dr. Conley said the pair planned to remain home at the White House during their convalescence. As the government intensifies the country's testing capacity, Malacanang reminded facilities that offer reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction swab testing not to jack up the rates of the test, especially if they got their machines and kits for free. Presidential spokesman Mahari Roque said medical institutions not to jack up the rates of RT-PCR tests as they only make people hesitate to have themselves tested. Roque urged the public to go to 4 institutions if they want to avail of cheap testing, and these are the Philippine Children's Medical Center, National Kidney and Transplant Institute, Lung Center of the Philippines, all in Quezon City, and Perpetual Health Medical Center in Las Piñas. According to the palace official, PCR tests should not cost more than 2,000 pesos as the machines and test kits were donated by Project ARC, and that PCR tests cost 1,750 pesos to 2,000. The Department of Health has submitted to the Office of the President a recommendation for the issuance of an EO that imposes a ceiling on the prices of RT-PCR tests. The Department of the Interior and Local Government on Friday said that as of October 1, an initial batch of 10,136 contact tracers or CTs from the 55,000 applicants all over the country have been hired. DILG Secretary Eduardo M. Año said that the hiring process of the 50,000 additional CTs is in full swing, with more than 47,000 applications being processed in the DILG field offices all over the country. The hiring of the additional CTs is mandated under the Bayanihan to Recover as One Act or Bayanihan 2 law. Anyo noted there is great interest from prospective applicants nationwide as more than 55,000 applicants submitted their requirement. Of this number, 47,000 are currently being processed by the DILG, and that they are expecting to receive more applications in the coming days. The DILG announced that no deadline was set for the hiring of the 50,000 CTs nationwide and has resorted to the continuous hiring to fill up and employ personnel for the remaining slots. The government intends to distribute cash subsidies or food packs to select infants and pregnant women to improve their nutrition amid the coronavirus pandemic. The latest dietary supplement program for the concerned beneficiaries has been endorsed by the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases during a meeting today, Friday. The amount and other details of the new nutrition project have yet to be released by the palace. The government's new program came after a survey showed more than 7 million Filipino families experiencing involuntary hunger in the past 3 months. In a social weather station survey last month, the families who experienced hunger due to lack of food reached a record high of 30.7%, or an estimated 7.6 million households, the figure higher than the 20.9% recorded in the month of July. The Department of Energy was ordered by President Duterte to look into the possibility of using the Bataan Nuclear Power Plant. The power plant was built in Morong, Bataan in the 1980s but was never used due to alleged safety issues. Our Malacanang senior news correspondent, Jen Cabiling, tells us more.
President Duterte has ordered energy authorities to study the proposed use of the mothballed Bataan Nuclear Power Plant and consult the concerned communities. Presidential spokesman Harry Roque said the president issued the latest directive following a meeting with Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi and former Pangasinan Representative Mark Coangco. The 621-megawatt power plant was built in Morong, Bataan in the 1980s, amounting to $2.2 billion but was never used due to the alleged safety concerns. Roque said the president recognized that any decision on whether or not to tap nuclear power should emanate from the people, not just from the government. In July, the president issued Executive Order No. 116, creating an interagency committee to evaluate and assess the need and viability of introducing nuclear power in the country's power generation mix. The Nuclear Energy Program Interagency Committee, chaired by the Department of Energy, is mandated to take into consideration the economic, security, and environmental implications, as well as the engagement of the public and the relevant stakeholders. The committee is also directed to review the existing legal framework, study the viability of nuclear energy, and recommend the necessary steps in the use of nuclear power as well as other facilities such as the Bataan plant.
Ibalik sa ground level, tatanungin ang taong bayan ng Bataan kung ano ba talagang gusto nila. Hindi po pwede na sa taas ng gagaling ang desisyon. Yun pala yung statement ng Presidente na dapat i-share ko, lalong-lalo na sa aking mga kababayan dito sa Bataan. Tayo daw po ang unang konsultahin kung mabubuksan muli ang Bataan Nuclear Power Plant.
For MB Now, this is Jen Cabiling reporting.
In Metro News, COVID-19 cases in Quezon City continue to decline. Parañaque LGU to cancel Christmas party, and Manila City opens Capitolio on International Coffee Day. More from this report.
New cases of coronavirus disease in Quezon City continue to decline over the past few weeks, according to experts. The local government on Thursday said that based on the latest University of the Philippines Octa research, the city's reproductive number is now at 0.67% from 0.79 last week. RO indicates how contagious and infectious disease is. Aside from that, the positivity rate of COVID-19 in the city is now at 10%, which is 1 point lower compared to last week. Dr. Ranjit Rai of Octa Research commended the city for making significant strides against COVID-19. He also said that the city must sustain its campaign to ensure the number will remain low. Mayor Joy Belmonte said that the local government is happy that slowly and surely Quezon City is improving, but there's still more to be done and not to relax. Parañaque City Mayor Edwin Olivares said on Thursday that Christmas party this year is not a priority as the coronavirus pandemic continues. Olivares said that he will be issuing memorandum to all department heads about the cancellation of Christmas party for this year and avoid gatherings. According to the mayor, he wanted the money they will be spending for the party to be used for the city's COVID-19 response. He was also happy to note that the city's total number of recoveries from the disease reached 91%. In line with International Coffee Day, the city government of Manila held the soft opening of Capitolio. It is a new coffee shop at Andres Bonifacio Monument Park in Ermita. The two-story coffee shop is fully air-conditioned and will feature local coffee and delicacies. Manila Mayor Francisco Esco Moreno Dumagoso, who led the opening, said the project will be a way to promote local coffee. Capitolio glass walls also showcase the redeveloped Andres Bonifacio Monument Park, with its thriving greenery, Capiz lights hanging on the trees, and musical dancing fountain in front of the monument. Dumagoso recalled how the park used to be a symbol of filth, chaos, and corruption in the biggest bathroom in Manila. He also ordered the regular cleaning and flushing operations at the park in his first few days at the office. A newly constructed public restrooms behind Capitolio was also inaugurated. It has multiple cubicles for visitors of the city.
Here are the top news in other parts of the country. Baguio City posts 2 deaths, 29 new COVID-19 cases. Boracay reopening peaceful according to the PNP. And New Iligan City footbridge draws selfies from residents and visitors. More in this report.
As Baguio City started to reopen its doors to tourists, 29 new cases of coronavirus disease were reported, together with 23 recoveries and the death of 2 senior citizens with pre-existing illness on Thursday, October 1. Of the new cases, 22 were contacts of previous cases, while 7 had symptoms. The fatalities were a 69-year-old male who suffered from cardiac arrest and a 70-year-old male who has acute myocardial infarction and hypertension. Of the total cases of 847 as of September 28, 15 were classified as severe to critical, or 1.7%. The Philippine National Police considered Thursday's reopening of Boracay Island generally peaceful as domestic tourists were allowed to visit after more than 6 months of travel restrictions caused by the coronavirus disease pandemic. According to the Police Regional Office in Boracay, there were no major crime incidents recorded and the situation on the island has been very manageable. Around 400 cops were deployed on the island, including 100 beach guards deployed by the Malay local government to enforce local ordinances, including the minimum health standard of wearing face masks and physical distancing. In the midst of the coronavirus disease pandemic, Iliganons have found a reason to be hopeful and feel proud of their city after an illuminated steel-hanging pedestrian bridge located in Barangay Tambakan was opened on Wednesday. Hundreds of residents have had their selfies taken at the city's latest sensation, which becomes all the more resplendent at night with the LED strip lights and floodlights hanging from the suspension cables. The new pedestrian steel bridge replaced the rundown wooden hanging bridge which was constructed in the early 1970s. The project was primarily implemented to deter crimes at the hanging bridge, especially where there would still be a significant volume of pedestrians even at nighttime.
In world news, pandemic creates surge of flawed research. Schools, cinemas to reopen in India despite spike in virus cases. And hundreds of lanterns released into night sky in Taiwan. Let's watch this.
The COVID-19 pandemic has created a surge in potentially flawed scientific studies as researchers rush to publish results without adequate oversight, a leading medical ethicist said. Since the novel coronavirus appeared late last year, there have been more than 4,000 academic papers relating to the virus, many of which have appeared online without the benefit of a full peer review process. The Journal of Medical Ethics warned that rushed or inaccurate research could put lives at risk. As of the end of July, there were 19 published articles and 14 preprints, papers that have not yet been peer-reviewed, dealing with COVID-19 that were retracted, withdrawn, or tagged with an expression of concern. Most of these occurred in Asia, with China alone responsible for 11 retractions or withdrawals. Schools and cinemas and swimming pools will be allowed to reopen in India after a months-long coronavirus lockdown, according to the Home Affairs Ministry. But the government had gradually restarted activities to salvage an economy badly battered by the lockdown, with millions of people, particularly the poor, losing their livelihoods. Classes for students aged 14 to 17 were allowed to resume in some states last week, but the new announcement affects all schools. Cinemas in the movie-obsessed country will be permitted to reopen with 50% capacity, while swimming pools can be used for sports training. Some experts warn that the vast nation is on track to becoming the world's most infected. Hundreds of sky lanterns are released in the Pingxi Township in Taiwan to symbolize prayers and best wishes during the pandemic crisis at an event organized by the new Taipei city government. Taiwan's coronavirus response is the most best globally, with fewer than 520 confirmed cases of COVID-19 and only 7 deaths. Organizers stressed the sky lanterns flown were all made of cardboard and paper, considered more environmentally friendly. The practice of lighting sky lanterns grew more widespread in the mid-19th century, when bandits often ravaged towns. Pingxi is the only place sky lanterns are allowed in Taiwan, as mountains and water prevent them from flying too far away.
In entertainment, 4 years after their debut in the music scene, iconic K-pop girl group Blackpink finally have their first ever studio album. Blackpink released today, October 2, The Album, an 8-track masterpiece fronted by lovesick girls in which Jennie and Jisoo took part as songwriters. The music video for Lovesick Girls have also been released on YouTube, and many are looking forward to how this will fare in terms of the number of views. According to YG Entertainment, the album has racked up more than 1 million pre-orders worldwide as of October 2, composed of 670,000 copies in South Korea and 340,000 copies in the US and Europe. Earlier, the album garnered 800,000 copies in pre-orders in just 6 days. A total of 18,888 limited edition LPs were also sold out early. The final count for the album sales is expected to increase further when the physical album is released on October 6. In sports, a mini store inside a PBA Bubble. Well, that seems to be the new business of rain or shine teammates Bo Belga and Ryan Araña. The Belga-Araña sari-sari store got it all and some more. However, Belga said it was actually for fun when he posted on his social media account a photo of the items with the caption, Araña Belga Sari-Sari Store, now open to serve, hashtag PBA Bubble. However, there were teammates, James Yap in particular, who wanted to buy something from their store. Alaska forward Vic Manuel and Phoenix Fuel forward Calvin Abueva also inquired. Araña said that he and Belga did not plan any of the food and other things they brought inside the bubble, which also include a rice cooker as well as a portable washing machine. While it is all for fun, both Araña and Belga made it clear of one thing when it comes to their store. And this is the proverbial bawal utang, bawal lista. And those are the news on Web Today, October 2, 2020. It's 84 days before Christmas. For more news and details, get your copy of Manila Bulletin newspaper tomorrow or log on to www.mb.com.ph. And you may also subscribe to our newsletter through the link on this video's caption to have the day's latest news delivered to your inbox. I am Barbie Atienza for Manila Bulletin, celebrating its 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. Join us again on Monday. This has been MB Now. Be fully informed.